Right now, you have a choice. You've put it off a long time, but it's trapping you here. You're not quite human enough to die, but still too human to survive. You're balanced on an edge where the end can't touch you, but you can't escape him. I made a choice. We all made choices. Now you have to...
I need to know. To sit in solemn silence in a dull... fuck, I don't remember. If I slur my words, I slur my words. Hi! It's Henrik, your archival assistant, now with audio and video. Eddie's fine. They're fine. They're no longer Deadwin, which is what I've been calling the whole zombie situation. Don't get on my ass about the gallows humor. We're in the gallows right now, and he found it funny. You know, so, what are they? Well, they're the archivist. Your archivist. We just don't know exactly how that affects us outside of the story. And I don't think they're just the archivist either, because archivists don't get powers from other horrors. They don't mimic. They don't distort. This is something else. We're not just following Jon and his stupid little plans anymore. There's something different that is affecting us. And there aren't any blueprints for this, so we're flying blind. And it's getting worse. It's pulling in more people. It's spreading, and the broadcast is getting stronger. I can feel it. I don't need the eye, though, to know that. Because I've got a statement of my own. So this is my little experiment. If I film this, is it going to end up on the broadcast? Will Eddie just know about it? Will I end up in their dreams? I don't know. Let's find out. So my old job just asked me to pick up a couple shifts while they're hiring some new people. The lonely doesn't affect me like in this same degree that it seems to affect Eddie, who's just boarded up all the time. Because, you know, don't get me wrong, I get a little foggy talking to people outside of the archive, but I can do it, right? And let's be clear, I need the money. Let's call the 15th, or yikes, I guess 16th horror capitalism. I'm getting off track. My job. I am a Chicago kayaking tour guide on Lake Michigan, which is exactly what it sounds like. Fun fact about Lake Michigan, by the way, deadliest Great Lake, like bar none. Most drownings per year in a all others combined sort of way. Thousands upon thousands of shipwrecks. Eastland disaster, I don't know if you know it, killed more people than the Titanic. So that's a big thing that Chicago's got going for it. There's a fun thing I say. Well, I say fun thing. It's a thing I say at the beginning of my tours where I go, "All right, everybody, who's ready to kayak on the largest graveyard in the Midwest?" And I don't know if that's true or not. It's probably not, but it's pithy and it gets people paying attention to the safety information, which is important because they're idiots that think they know better. On this particular day, I was going out into the harbor with a group of 20 kayakers who were, to put it kindly, moderately capable. There was this one guy, though, who spent 15 minutes waffling about what sort of kayak would get his butt the least wet, and I was like, dude, they're all gonna soak your ass. We have these Riviera kayaks that don't have walls, and so the water just helps itself to your pants. There's no stopping it. And I told him this, and he spent another 10 minutes before finally getting the one that I told him to get into originally. I hated him immediately. But then we were out in the water, which was great because I love it. And we were paddling along the harbor, and I remember thinking how much I just loved the feeling of just cresting over the gentle waves and just the sky all around, and thinking about how, you know, maybe as the season continues, I might take a kayak out by myself into Lake Michigan just for the heck of it, which is a terrible idea. Never kayak on your own in a large body of water, but I did, and I do, because I think way too highly of myself. Once we got to the playpen, which is this bigger open area in the harbor where wreck boats can just chill, one of the more competent kayakers, I think his name was Steve or something like that, he looked back the way we'd come to the north and asked me, hey, is it gonna rain today? And it wasn't supposed to. I had checked because I am good at my job, but I looked where he was pointing, and like just beyond downtown Chicago there was this massive black cloud. So it was gonna rain, turns out. It was gonna actually storm, and it was gonna have waves, which not like those small fun Jersey Shore waves. I mean, like when you are in a kayak in the lake and it is storming, you pray to Mary, Mother of Jesus. You pray to someone, I don't care. Because, listen, like, there are full cargo ships at the bottom of the lake. It's the deadliest Great Lake, remember? And so, if you are in a little dinky plastic kayak without walls and it so much as drizzles, you make a beeline back to the dock, get out, go home, and never kayak again. It's not worth it. So I was like, hey guys, you guys are going back as soon as possible. I'm gonna go catch any stragglers. You guys, go! And they did that, thank God. And I went to go catch any stragglers. And I radioed back to the dock saying, hey, what's the deal with the weather? And nobody responded to me. I know what you're thinking, by the way. This is when you start listening to the statement and you start looking for those little foreshadowing things where you're like, oh, that's a spider. This is a spider one. I like the spider. I don't like the spider. It's an example. You see these details and you want to know where it is going. And so you ascribe a lot of meaning to these very little things. And I think, you know, with these statements, there is a lot of meaning in those little things because they're important to the story. But I'm not telling you about how Ricky didn't show up to work that day, or how Sid had 3 spiders in her kayaks, or how Andrew had sunglasses that were a little too dark, because none of it matters. Because say what you like about the horrors, but they're rare. And I had never experienced any of them outside of the podcast app on my phone. And also Eddie now, which is rough. Because there are other supernatural occurrences that are normal. And also, when you see a storm, you don't think it's some horrible shit. You think it's a storm. And I think it was a normal storm. I think it had really kind of nothing to do with what happened. What happened was just kind of as a result of it, but not like in a malicious sort of... I think it was a normal storm. The last straggler was, of course, that idiot, because of course it was. And he was at the edge of the harbor, like as far from the docks as you could be, because of course he was. And he was just sitting in his kayak, staring back at the storm. And then he looked to me as I paddled up to him, and he went, ooh, I wouldn't have expected you personally, but I guess that makes sense. And then I was like, I know what is going. This is some horror bullshit, because there's always some weirdo saying some weird thing and it never ends well. And so I just went, dude, not the time. We gotta go. And I don't think he knew how to respond to that, which makes me very, very happy. Because suddenly he was just the meekest he could possibly be. And I was like, oh, please, sir, can you get me back to the dock? I'm very scared. I don't know how to kayak. And I did have a job to do, so I attached my tow rope to his kayak, and I started pulling him back towards the dock. But not before telling him, like, hey, listen, if you capsize, bang on your boat, and don't scream. You're just gonna get water in your lungs. And then he looks even more scared. And at this point, the tops of the skyscrapers were disappearing into the cloud as the storm rolled over Chicago, and there were like tendrils of cloud falling over Navy Pier. The wind was getting stronger, and I got to a point where I could no longer look back to check on him, because anytime I did so, I was starting to push back. I had to keep on making forward progress, and I was looking about, seeing maybe flashes in the sky and wondering if it was lightning or if it was my imagination, and wondering what would happen if we got hit. And I began to wonder if there was anyone I missed, if there was anyone that had fallen behind and I hadn't noticed them, if once the storm had ended, we would just find a flipped over lime green kayak floating free in the harbor, and that would be on me because I hadn't looked hard enough. And then it started to rain. Sharp and hard and cold. and I laughed because I didn't know what else to do. And it was ridiculous because not like 20 minutes before, I was kayaking on the most placid body of water you have ever seen. And then suddenly, I was fighting Mother Nature herself as she just pressed her whole body against me. And it was kind of exhilarating, frankly, to be just testing yourself against that huge of an opponent. But there was also then this just subtle sense of danger underneath, just of... I saw it coming before it hit. Just this wall of storm, of rain, of churning water just surging towards me, and it hit, and I screamed against it. Just this primal animal yell against the storm, and I felt a ball of ice fly into my mouth, and I had just enough time to be like, "Hail!" before suddenly my kayak flew backwards, hit the one behind me, and we both capsized into the water. And my first thought was relief, because it was just so much quieter under there. And yeah, you could hear the storm above, but it was quiet and it was still. And then I opened my eyes, and the kayaker was sitting upside down in his kayak under the water, just staring down into the depths. And he should have been panicking. You know, we both should have been panicking, frankly, but I wasn't thinking about myself in that moment. But he was just sitting there, upside down, underwater, in a storm, smiling down into Lake Michigan. So I was, a little bit curious and followed his vision. And frankly, whatever it was, should thank heavens that I've got 20/20 vision, because otherwise I don't think this effect would have worked nearly as well, because right at the edge of vision, that verge where the light no longer makes its way down through the water and just darkness is below, right at that edge, there was a body. And it looked exactly like him, and not like in a replicant way. It was like a reflection, just rippling slightly. And it smiled back up at him, with calm, with peace, with an outstretched hand towards his. And he reached his hand back in return, and he slowly began to sink towards it, which humans naturally float. We're full of air, and more importantly, he had a life jacket. But he just slipped out of the kayak and gently sunk down towards his reflection. And I'm sure you see where this is going, because I looked below myself. And I saw me, way down beneath the lake, smiling back up at me. And I couldn't help but think, when was the last time I had looked so calm? When was the last time I hadn't been afraid? And then it spoke. And through all that distance of water, I heard its voice, my voice, speak perfectly clear. Welcome to the greatest grave. And I knew, and I mean absolutely knew, without a shred of doubt, Eddie, I knew I was about to die. And I knew exactly what it was going to feel like to just abject non-existence, nothingness, not even darkness, just emptiness. Like how the world looks outside your vision. I mean, you can say what you like about peace and calm, but I didn't die. Spoilers. The Coast Guard grabbed me. Evidently my supervisor had called them when I didn't get back, and they saw my capsized kayak and pulled me out. They didn't get the other guy, though. He never came back up. The last time I saw him, he was maybe about halfway down towards his reflection. I can't think of any possibilities of what could have happened to him. I won't bore you with the specifics of my return to the dock. It was normal, harmless. Once I was no longer feeling like I was about to die, my first thought was, hey, this is going to be a good story, which I know, that's a whole thing I gotta unpack at some point. I've been busy. When I got back to the dock, I learned that the storm had capsized sailboats in the harbor. Let me say that again so that you and I both register that fully. The storm had capsized full-ass sailboats in the harbor, and I was in a little dinky plastic kayak without walls. If the storm had pushed on a little bit longer, or the Coast Guard had taken a little bit longer to find me, or we were a little bit further away, or all sorts of little things could have happened, and that would have just been it. Lightning could have struck us at any moment, and I don't think I'd even noticed before I was not there anymore. And the crazy thing, to me at least, is that this happened to me in my normal life, doing normal things. You know, like there's a element of like, you know, you're getting into something dangerous with the Magnus Archives, and you feel like, oh, this is something scary. But that was my normal life. Dangerous things aren't supposed to happen in normal life. At least I'm not used to them doing so. But the end doesn't chase you, I guess. It just waits. And ever since that day, I can feel myself dying. Not like there's a timer. I'm not Oliver. If a piano was gonna fall on me tomorrow and kill me, I wouldn't know ahead of time. But I bump my leg, and I can feel the cells of my leg die in response. And not just injuries. At every moment, I can feel the cells of my body fall apart and die, and I can feel new ones being made, but not ever as many or as healthily as there were before. Just a slight bit more dead. Every moment of every day, as my body slowly loses the resources to keep itself going until there isn't me anymore. And I can't stop feeling it. I can't stop knowing it, even when I'm asleep. So that's my statement, I guess. Maybe we'll see if this ends up on the broadcast, and we'll see how angry you get when you find out I didn't tell you immediately, which I'm not particularly sorry about, because this just proves my point even more. There's nothing worse than death. Absolutely nothing. And if I'm going to be a little bit ugly, I'm incredibly jealous that maybe you can't die now, because you can say what you like about these other forms of death, about the death of the past version of yourself or a better version of yourself, or all this philosophical mumbo jumbo, and that's important. It's important to examine those ethical implications, but whatever happens, there's still a you there, right? Like the feed is still going. There's something there. You're alive, and there are things in the story that are actually able to kill us, and they're getting stronger. And I'm not interested in letting that happen. I don't want that to happen. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not done living yet, and nothing's going to stop me from stopping that from happening. Even if I have to go through you. I'm not threatening you if you're watching this. I'm not, don't get the wrong idea. It's just, fuck. There they go. Hope you're well fed, my friend. Statement, and fuck.
Hi. I'm back. I'm, feeling better. I'm feeling really good, actually. That thing with the Curator, it's fine. They're gone now, and they haven't been back since. It's just me. I'm Edwin Endicott, the archivist. Welcome to First Time Listener. I should feel different, shouldn't I? I mean, beyond the exhaustion that went hand in hand with an unbeating heart and non-functional lungs, but I don't. I just feel good. Alert. Like everything's a little bit clearer, like putting glasses on for the first time. It feels pointless to ignore it now. I like it. I'm scared of it, but I like it. Jon couldn't tell if he was the same person who went to sleep. But I never went to sleep. It's always just been me. Today we're covering episodes 121, Far Away, to 134, Time of Revelation. Favourite episodes? I mean, isn't it a bit weird to have favourites? I mean, it's nice to be reminded that all of this is a story. It's all technically fiction, but it just feels weird sometimes. To admit to enjoying it, to enjoying listening to a story that you know is deeply harming those around you. Lots of great episodes in this batch, though. Genuinely some of the strongest in the series. My choices keep changing, but let's stick with 128, Heavy Goods, and 127. Oh, remains to be seen. Whew, absolutely horrifying to see what happens to Albrecht von Closen 15 years after episode 23. I debate with myself constantly if those eyes inside of his body emerged upon his death or since he started collecting the books. I assume you can infer why that small detail really got to me. Also, I did it again. That episode, Jon described his powers to us, how they feel, and how they feel like a door inside of his head, which, of course, is the exact description that I used to describe my own abilities within myself, and I first mentioned that description in a comment in Volume 3. That is too early for comfort. Oh god, that's at least 65 episodes before he said it. That's over a season and a half. Oh god! It also feels poignant to mention that Elias has only been present in season 4 so far in the sole episode with a direct connection to Jon and Magnus. Maybe he's what remains to be seen. Alright, it's the start of season 4, so we do what we always do. It's time for a Q&A. Are there any names which you expected to return to the narrative by now, but which haven't yet? You know, I thought we'd meet Simon Fairchild by now, honestly, or get a statement from Agnes Montague. The least likely one I'd want to hear from is Robert Smirk. I want to hear his theories, hear how he spoke. And John Flamstein as well, if he's even a character, but I don't really think they'd have statements lying around anywhere. Adelard Decker is also a contender. They've never actually said that he's dead. We know who the archivist is, but we don't know who Edwin is. What do you like? Who do you love? Where would you go if you were free? I like reading, non-fiction. Preferably non-fiction. Science stuff. Astronomy and geology, mostly. I'm shit at cooking. I'm quite good at baking, but I hate sweets. I love my twin sister, Gerrie. I love my friends, Ash, Henrik, and yeah, Percy still. I mean, he punched me in the face, but I get why now, so I don't really blame him. Astrid's here now too. I think it was a bit hypocritical of me to be so angry, telling someone not to listen onwards. We were flatmates at uni. She's one of my best friends. Maybe I'm a bit glad she's here. Where would I go if I were free? To bed. Oh god, what I would give for dreamless sleep. How has your opinions of the characters changed as the show has progressed? What are your favourite character dynamics? Are there any relationships you'd like to see explored more? I like Melanie a lot more. I never disliked her. I just think I like hearing her perspective. She thinks very, very differently than I do, so I really like that, especially with her. It's not better or worse, it's just a different kind of bad mentality. Basira is being a lot more reclusive than I think is helpful. But I just don't like not knowing what she's up to, especially knowing who she's scheming with. Personally, I think communication is everyone's best bet right now. And they are really lacking it, when if they ever had it to begin with. As for character dynamics, Helen and Melanie are quite a fun duo. And I think when Jon sees Elias again, it'll be particularly interesting. And I always like when Jon and Martin are together. They're fun and they're sweet, and they also challenge each other very well. I'll always want more of them, and company would do them both some good. I don't know if anyone has asked yet, but which episode so far scared you the most? 120. Eye contact. If you weren't connected to the either way you are now, what fear do you think you would instead serve under? It's never occurred to me that I could have served someone else. But I don't feel want towards the others. I don't like confusion. I don't like manipulating. I don't like heights. I don't think there's any other place for me than here. I know your fiction empathy powers are usually less intense than they've been for this podcast. If something like a major character death or transformation happens in stories before the Magnus Archives, how did that affect you, if at all? You know, fiction empathy is a much better name than psychic empathy. As for the question, well, it didn't. I've never followed the pain of protagonist. I've never gained extra superpowers. The most that would happen would have been a change in voice, the urge to dress a little bit differently, sometimes be more introverted or extroverted, more serious or silly, little things, and then they would vanish once the story was over. But this, I mean, how can you possibly go back? It's never been this. Never feeling your hand getting burned or getting slashed by a scalpel or stuck in an explosion or crushed in a coffin. Slamming a knife into your fingers or listening to Jon choose to see Jared Hopworth. I always thought it would have been against his will, another kidnapping. It's stupid because he's not real and I can't stop him, but never have I felt more betrayed by Jonathan Simps. To listen to them all talk about it as it approaches, to not be able to stop it. To listen to Jon offer not just one rib, but two. All for a damn state. For the feeling of massive breathing hands to plunge into your abdomen and grip onto your ribcage like handlebars on a bicycle, and then pull. And then cracking and splintering inside of your own skin, around your own organs, and then just gone. Guess you can't have phantom pains from bones that shouldn't be there. So the story took them. Because the story's connected to my flesh. The flesh. Oh God. Is a monster still a monster when it's suffering just as much as its victims? When the wheels of power crush it the same as any other person? I don't even know anymore. So, Jon woke up. I was right about Oliver getting Jon out of the coma, but I thought in episode 11 Dreamer he was kind, he felt human. I thought maybe he'd want to help, but episode 121 Far Away. Disappointed is the wrong word. It's not that. He sounded fine, but his statement, the things he did to get to Point Nemo, I didn't expect to be scared of him. It should worry me, but it just made me sad. Oliver Banks confirmed that theory about the web, by the way. That it's directly influencing events now. Probably always has.
Honestly, I'm still not exactly sure why I'm here. But you know better than anyone how the spiders can get into your head. Easier to just do what she asks.
Obviously didn't expect it to be confirmed in the literal next episode, but lucky me, I guess. It was also furthered in episode 123. hidden in a list of code on a website called the Curator.
But I cannot help but note that there seem to be the names of several statement givers who found their way to the Institute, including noted arachnophobe Carlos Vittori.
Calicerae are pincers on a spider's mouth, sometimes containing venom, sometimes guiding the food in. Then the spider gave Jon one of Gertrude's cassettes. Wasn't even subtle about it. Episode 130, Meat, depicting the ritual of the flesh and Gertrude blowing it up. Jon thought it was given to him regarding the use of his own flesh as an anchor as he enters the do-not-open coffin. I disagree. I think it's telling him to blow up the Institute. I just don't know what the spider wants beyond blowing up the archive. It's playing such a long game, so it's got to want something else, something bigger. I just don't know what. Ash. I have a friend. Ash mentioned her once or twice. She was the one that thought of the title, the Marked Archivist. I mean, I've got a few titles now. I've honestly lost track. I think the newest one now is Fear Archivist along you lot, but Marked. Marked makes me think of physical marks, of scars. And I think about the scars that Jon's collected from the horrors. Right now he's collected scars from about 8 out of the 14. Not about exactly, I've counted them. Maybe 8 out of 15, but doesn't it feel like something, I guess, for the archivist, the collection of the horrors history in a person, to be physically marked by all of them too? Or maybe it's a stretch, I don't know. It's not even a theory from the show, but from the nickname by my spooky friend who doesn't talk to me anymore. I will not be divulging further. It's just been on my mind. Basically, the archive team is a mess. Basira keeps to herself and doesn't trust anyone anymore. She's scheming with Elias Bouchard too, even though they've reached some sort of dead end regarding finding protection for the Institute. Melanie was overtaken by the slaughter. This aided in the sense that she was able to be the Institute's protector for a time, but she grew full-on rage and hatred and attacked Jon when he saw her for the first time since the coma. Jon did help though, with his knowing. He was able to know that the bullet from her encounter with the slaughter in India was still inside her, rotting and infecting her with the violence. He and Basira got it out. Poor Melanie. Then Martin. Martin is isolated from everyone. He's currently working as an assistant to Peter Lucas. It's not good. I'll talk more about that later. It appears I was right about a lot of things this time, but thank God for being wrong. Because I was wrong about Daisy. I was so wrong about Daisy. Thank God! I knew I should have trusted my gut. We didn't see Daisy's death. We didn't see it. And it ate at me, but I let it go because I didn't want to sound overly skeptical. Not to mention, I thought the coffin was of the end for a very, very long time. It's of the buried, Breakin told us. Well, Breakin didn't... Jon's archivist powers are advancing. Episode 128. Heavy goods. Jonathan Sims went into Breakin's mind and pulled out a statement. Extracted it. Almost like what Elias did to Daisy. I still don't think Elias is exactly an archivist here, but Jon's obviously getting much, much stronger. What else can the archivist do? Breakin's statement confirmed that Daisy is alive, trapped within the depths of the pit of the buried, being constantly crushed. So, Jon went on a suicide mission to get her out, using his own rib as an anchor to the outside world that could guide them out of there. But it didn't work. He almost got trapped there with her. If it wasn't for Martin.
What does puzzle me, though, and I mean that genuinely, is why you were piling tape recorders onto the coffin while Jon was in there. It's a question, Martin. It's not an accusation.
I don't know. And I just felt like it might help. He's always recording. I thought it might help him find his way out.
Interesting. Were you compelled?
I don't know. Maybe. I definitely wanted to do it.
But?
I'm
I'm not sure where the idea came from.
You should watch out for that. Could be something dangerous.
Has anyone acknowledged the fact that Jon is more connected to his tapes than his own physical body parts? Oh god. Daisy's back now, and she's lost her connection to the hunt. She doesn't want it anymore. Being buried for so long, she lost it. I think she's figuring out who she is without it now. I'm almost happy for her. I think I'm really looking forward to meeting her again. She's discovering who she is without the hunt, as Jon discovers who he is within the eye. You know, for the longest time I kept wondering why Elias didn't kill Gertrude sooner, if she wasn't a good archivist, but I worked it out now. Gertrude stopped the rituals for him. He only needed to kill her when she got too close to stopping his own. Another thing I realized about Gertrude, I'm genuinely starting to lose track of things that I'm inferring in the story and things that I am overtly stating as fact. This is starting to worry me, in the case that I infer something wrong and then treat it as fact. Honestly, maybe I already have. For example, it was never stated that Gertrude tried to blow up the archive. What was stated was that there was a gas main in the tunnels, Gertrude's body was found there surrounded by her own tapes, and then Elias said,
"So, for the avoidance of any doubt, I killed Gertrude Robinson because she intended to destroy the archives."
With no explicit description as to how. Not to mention I said it for the first time before we knew that blowing up rituals was kind of her thing. I've also been occasionally unclear in my lines of logic, like that thing I mentioned last time with Jared Hopworth and how many of his related statements mention ribs. I said that because of the main narrative itself. If a story mentions one specific bone over and over and over again, and your main character were to lose a bone, it would likely be the one in the story that has been mentioned 4 or 5 times. It's foreshadowing, something this show is particularly good at. I will try to keep track of this habit, but I know the literal superpower of just knowing things doesn't really help. But still, I'm aiming for clarity here. I've attempted to track the rituals. As many as we can find, as well as names, dates, and locations associated to each one. So, let's go. Most obviously, we've got the stranger, the unknowing. We know it, we just experienced it July 6th, 2017, the House of Wax, Great Yarmouth. The rest I will go through chronologically. The Buried attempted the Sunken Sky, June 17th, 2008. We observed it for the first time in episode 97, We All Ignore the Pit, located in Bakota, Washington, United States of America. Jon saw how Gertrude stopped it. By using the body of Jan Kilbride, touched by the vast, to throw into the pit.
But Gertrude also realized that the body need not be alive, or in one piece. She thought it was a mercy. It wasn't.
That's a new escalation for me too. Not only am I knowing things for myself, it turns out I don't need to be listening to the episodes to see what Jon does. It should be funny, really. I was making myself a cuppa when suddenly Gertrude and Jan Kilbride popped up in my head. Then I listened to episode 129 and heard Jon saying exactly what I saw. Great. The Flesh attempted their ritual in October 2008, titled The Last Feast, in Istanbul. It was led by Tom Hahn in an old Gnostic temple, throwing pounds and pounds of meat and flesh into the giant mouth. This one was destroyed by Gertrude Robinson through an explosion. Then the spiral wanted the Great Twisting in Zemla Senekova, Russia, Senekov land. A place that doesn't exist. With decades worth of impossible doors and things and stairs and smiles carved out of clay. Gabriel, from episode 126, was the worker in clay. This ritual was stopped by throwing archival assistant Michael Shelley into the impossible door with a map. A map that transformed him into Michael, the distortion, and collapsed the ritual. We last heard Michael Shelley's voice in episode 99 in September 2007, meaning the Great Twisting happened after that date. Let's put it around 2007 to 2010. The burnt offering might be something too. I'm willing to bet that the Desolation tried to use Gertrude for a ritual of their own because she's the primary destroyer of other rituals. This might have been around 2009? Didn't one of my oldest theories link her to be, like, taken by the lightless flame? The Lonely attempted a ritual too. Peter said so. Gertrude caused it to fail. We don't know what it was or when it was, but I assume it was at the Lucas estate called Moreland House, or it used Peter's ship, the Tundra. Maybe it involved Daedalus space station member Carter Chilcott. Now, the Darks ritual I already theorized about. I don't know what it was, but I absolutely know when. March 20th, 2015, because it was very likely during an eclipse. Then comes the corruption. I stand by my theory that it was Jane Prentiss, that her attack on the Institute was an attempted ritual July 29th, 2016, but it was discovered too soon and started prematurely, causing it to fail. Those are the ones we've got so far, meaning the last ones we're actively searching for are the Vast and the Slaughter, but everyone else is debatably accounted for, because the other three I haven't mentioned don't want their rituals to succeed. The Hunt's ritual is called the Ever Hunt, observed in 1925 in Brazil, episode 33, Dead Horse. It's called the Ever Hunt because it never ends. If you were to turn the world into a factory farm, you would never have to hunt a day in your life again, so the ritual can never succeed, because that would mean the hunt is over. As for the End in the Web, Peter Lucas confirmed that they do not have rituals. With the web, Peter thinks it prefers the current world, which makes sense. If its fear is all about manipulation, you can't be the mother of puppets if everyone sees all the strings. As for the End, it doesn't need one, because everything and everyone will be claimed by it eventually. To create a ritual of the End would end everything, including fear, which brings us to the new one. Adelard Decker is right. There's a new horror coming. That's why the other horrors have their rituals happening so quickly over the last decade or so. It's because of the...
But now, the fear is not of a rapture or a revelation. It is of catastrophic change. A change in our world that will wipe out what it means to be us and leave something else in its place. Mankind will warp the world so much it kills us all, and leaves only 1,000 years of plastic behind. Technology will strip us of what it means to be human and leave us something alien and cold. We will press a button that in a moment will destroy everything we have ever been. Animals are witnessing the end of their entire species within a single generation. These are new fears, Gertrude, and a new power is rising to consume them. The extinction, the terrible change, the future without us.
What do I think about when I think of extinction? I think of Julius Robert Oppenheimer and the creation of the atomic bomb. I think of climate change and forever plastic. I think of humans killing hundreds of species of animals. I think about World War II, the deadliest war in history. I think of genocide and the extinction of cultures and identities. I think of forgetting. Things vanishing so quickly, most people don't notice it's gone, and eventually they will be told that it was never there to begin with. That fear is so real. I forgot you couldn't feel it. It was one of the most real and horrifying realizations in all of this. To realize that humans were not always afraid of that. To be a victim to it. Or a contributor. I forgot it was something that people didn't fear. I forgot it could be born. This is what Peter Lucas is trying to stop. And this is why he's isolating Martin. Something about Martin being touched by both Beholding and the Lonely makes him the perfect candidate for Peter's plan to stop the birth of the Extinction, but I don't know what and I don't know how. Honestly, I thought a good candidate to help would be the Archivist. I associate Extinction with replacement and erasure, but if there's an avatar out there whose whole thing is being the memory of the horrors, I would have thought that was something. I mean, that could easily be what the Beholding helps for in Martin, but I don't have anything else to go off of it. I don't have any more information. The two biggest threats right now are the Extinction and the Watcher's Crown, and I do not know anything about either of them. I can just know things now, and I know more sides of the story than Jon does, so why can't I know the important things? Why can't I just control it? I mean, it begs the question, how does the knowing work? Is it the eye specifically picking information to dawn on you, to go through the door, or is it more instinctual to yourself? If Jon wants to know about a certain thing, is he the one that calls the information to him? Realistically, it's probably some balance of both. But what happens if someone wants to know something that the eye doesn't want them to know? What happens then? Because I know Jon does not want to cause a ritual. Okay? I know we don't want to cause a ritual. Look, there are things that I need to know that I just don't. So I have no idea what I actually need to do. I don't know what's happening to me, and I don't know what I am doing to everyone. I don't know what I am. I need help. I need my team. Yeah, I need my team.
Hey, Eddie, what's up?
I'm bringing in Astrid now. I just wanted us to... Henrik, are you alright?
Why do you ask?
Nothing. I thought you sounded different.
Different in the way I said, hey, what's up?
I guess.
You want me to try again?
I don't know. Sorry. I just had one of those weird feelings. I'm still getting used to all the stuff inside of my head.
Well, I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Right.
Hello.
Hey, Astrid. Love to see you. Hate to see you here.
I appreciate the sentiment, nonetheless.
Hey, Astrid. I was just hoping to get a brainstorm in.
On the broadcast. They're filming.
Yeah, I'm filming.
I don't really mind. The camera would probably turn on its own anyway, right?
True.
True. So, what do we know and what can we do?
Oh, good. Straight to the point.
Yeah, they usually ramble on for much longer. Conciseness, not their thing.
Never has been, really.
No. Don't you start scheming against me. You'll exhaust me.
Well, and how's sleep working out for you?
Not
Henrik.
funny.
Sorry, so subject. I'll dial it back. Eesh.
Okay. We know there's a new fear about to be born called the Extinction. Peter is isolating Martin, and Elias doesn't want to help Peter.
Because Elias believes he can pull off his ritual before the emergence, and we know the ritual of beholding is called the Rite of the Watcher's Crown.
But who would wear the Watcher's Crown, if that's even how it works?
Well, if the eye isn't wearing it, it'd be Jon or Elias. My money's on Jon. Makes for a more interesting story.
Maybe the eye would wear it. Or maybe the Watcher's Crown is a person, like how the Archivist is the pupil to the eye.
Well, that still leaves the question, Jon or Elias. And if it's the Archivist, then that would also make it you.
Would it matter, though? What if Jon stops it? Clearly the web is interfering with everything now, so if each season is vaguely attached to one fear, maybe the Watcher's Crown fails in season 4, because there's one more season after this, and how can you have a final season within an eye apocalypse? So maybe season 5 is about the web and how it would try to stop the emergence of the Extinction.
The web could just want Jon to destroy the archive. All the fears are after the eye right now. It makes perfect sense for the spider to be much more subtle about it. Also, I think the show is clever enough to keep going if a ritual succeeds.
I agree with Astrid.
And what about Jared Hopworth?
Sorry?
What about Jared Hopworth?
Jared was given letters with addresses and names that led him to... good bones to eat. And whoever sent those letters sent him to the archive to kill Jon.
Oh, I was distracted. I completely forgot about that.
It can't be the web, because the web doesn't want to kill Jon. Unless this is some sort of long con, which...
I almost think it was Peter, but Peter knows that Jon wasn't in the Institute, and Peter can hardly send an email.
Exactly. Now you see my point. I thought it could have been someone like Simon Fairchild, maybe even Jude Perry, but I couldn't really think of any other recurring names that felt right.
Jude Perry. Do you think the Extinction could alter avatars of the Desolation?
Are they that similar?
We can't exactly have an extinction without mass destruction. Change, in a sense, is the destruction of something old into something new.
So you think they would be allies?
I don't know. You can't destroy anything if the world is lifeless.
Or, to make the world lifeless, you would destroy everything.
Fair point.
Thank you.
Also, it feels like a good time to mention that the Archivist is getting stronger.
Yes, Jon is.
You are too. You're literally not a zombie anymore.
Stop calling me a zombie.
Okay, this is a touchy subject, but we need to talk about it.
I never said we couldn't.
Okay then. The Archivist, Jon, is getting new powers. He can go into people's minds and pull statements out of them, and he gets bits of knowledge shoved into his head. Sometimes visions, too.
Yeah. He can do that now.
And you can too.
Henrik.
For the record.
I don't sound like that.
I know.
I'm not denying it's happening. You don't get it, okay? You're not sitting there and watching as Jon grows closer and closer to the Eye, and you don't see him gaining more powers, and you don't feel them inside of yourself too. You don't know that everything he discovers about himself is something he is discovering about you. I'm not following his exact path either. Some abilities are faster, some are slower. And there's the whole broadcast thing. I'm not stupid. I've noticed that too. We craved the same thing. Then we made the same choice. Look, I have no desire to go into anyone's mind. He did it on accident. I'm not trying it.
Could be useful, considering who's now going into your mind.
Do you mean the Curator or the Eye?
Isn't it a bit alarming that you need the clarification?
I mean, the Curator hasn't bothered me since the possession. It's fine.
It is definitely not fine, actually.
Yeah, as someone who has been possessed before, it's not fine.
Okay, that was a different story with a completely different set of rules, and you know what? That was actually not my fault that time.
Honestly, Edwin, I'm a bit surprised that the knowledge thing is bothering you so much.
I'm sorry?
It can't be that unfamiliar. You're literally a psychic. You have precognition. You've had powers your whole life whose sole purpose is to put information in your head.
Oh shit.
No. It's not like that. My powers before this, they're not attached to anything else. It's like a muscle. It's like breathing. They just happen. This with the Eye, it's a connection to something deeper, being part of me.
So, the Archivist is getting stronger.
Yes.
What does that mean for us?
I don't know.
Fine, I'll actually say it. Edwin, if you get too connected to the Eye, you cause the Watcher's Crown to happen in our world, to us.
I mean, the Curator thinks so.
And what about you?
I still think that if it fails in the show, it will fail for us.
Well, some viewers are calling you a stronger archivist than Jon. And the broadcast is its own thing, so that logic can easily be thrown out the window.
I'm not entirely sure that the Watcher's Crown can happen over here.
What? Why?
No, never mind. Just give me more time. I need to look through a few more of our statements first before forming a solid theory.
Right.
And you're getting powers unrelated to the Archivist. Things that are attached to other horrors. So, what do those powers have in common?
Well, that's easy. They're all about the story, like Edwin is.
I am?
Of course you are. You're watching the world and how it plays out through the eyes of all of the characters in all of the episodes. Then you connect them. That's your whole thing. You chose to be beholden because that's just you, but it doesn't stop you from being attached to the story as a whole. Honestly, it probably amplifies it because all the Archivist is about is experiencing all and everything forever, and now we get our own statements too. In the comments and in people's own videos, from people in our world being affected by the horrors of this story.
The horrors are tied to the show even if someone's never listened to it. It makes sense. None of the statements that we've been given go back further than early 2016, and that was when the Magnus Archives premiered.
Wait, Really?
Yeah, I'm not making it up.
Henrik, when did you notice that?
It was just... I don't know.
Okay, Astrid is the one who reads most of the statements. Henrik, when was the last time you've read any of our statements?
Shit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you just knew, didn't you?
Yeah.
Great, he just knew. Fantastic.
So it's definitely getting stronger.
You can practically feel it at this
In
point.
more ways than one.
So what's the end game here? What does it want from us? From the broadcast? What the hell can we actually do?
Archive? Listen further? Egg it on and hope that we get just enough knowledge to be able to stop whatever is being planned right now. I don't know, you two. I'm sorry. I've got absolutely no idea.
Edwin?
What did you see?
There's a package at my door.
And why would it want you to know that?
Because the package is from the Curator. I've got to go get it. 1 second.
Whoa, wait, whoa. What?
Don't you dare open it.
Why not?
Because it could kill you.
It is. Welcome to
The deal is not,
try.
if anything, to kill him, really. But listen, the Curator has an entire shop full of fear. They know what they're doing. The safest bet is probably not to open it.
Thank you, Henrik.
Well, I wasn't agreeing with you. I was just pointing out the safest option.
I take back my thanks.
Show me, I'm curious. Maybe whatever's in there can kill him in the box.
Look, if the Curator wanted to kill me, they would have done so while they were inside my literal dead body. Or they would possess me again. Maybe the safest option is knowing what is inside of the box.
That's obviously the I talking, Ed. What?
No, actually, it is just me talking, Astrid. It is just me. I'm not some clueless puppet convincing itself it's not serving an evil god. I know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, in this specific case, it might be a good idea to... Shit.
And you know now, don't you? Okay, don't be embarrassed. It happens.
What's in it, Ed?
It's the book from the possession ceremony, from the Curator Dreams, and Almanac of Oniric Apertures. The Curator gave me a Leitner book.
What does oniric mean?
I don't know, I'm the archivist, not a dictionary.
Dreams. Of or relating to dreams. Oneros, it's Greek. What the Curator calls you. I think it's a lightning that'll turn you into a dreamwalker.
What's a dreamwalker?
I have no idea. I thought it was just a nickname to rile me up. It sounds like something of the spiral?
I would have thought the end, or maybe the eye.
I don't think the Curator would want Eddie to become something else akin to the eye.
No, the Curator would want me to read it to stop becoming the archivist.
Would you
You already
stop becoming the
archivist?
archivist?
I mean, if I'm stuck inside other people's dreams, in their heads, haunting the fear of their dreams, I mean, yeah, I think so.
Are you sure that's what it does?
Honestly, no idea. That's actually just my own head working. It could have multiple outcomes. I'm genuinely just guessing this time.
So the Curator is trying to turn you into a monster.
Actually, Henrik, I might already be a monster.
You know what I mean. It will lose you. I think you should burn it.
What?
I'm on board with this plan. You've already got a lighter.
I mean, we... some Leitner books don't burn. We don't even know if we can burn it. Sometimes they get worse when they're burned.
Things have nothing to do with a lightless flame, so I'll take our chances.
Burn it, Ed.
Just wait a second.
Why?
We were just talking about the possibility that the Watcher's Crown was happening in this world. If it's tied to the Archivist, which it obviously is, then this is our failsafe, isn't it? This would stop the Archivist. This would stop me. Why shouldn't we keep it?
Because what if it doesn't work like the Curator wants it to? Maybe connecting the archivist even closer to Dream's exit on even more. We don't even know what the Watcher's Crown physically is. Oh, we're going to have to tie our own! Not to mention, what's the point of a failsafe if you don't survive it?
Actually, I would technically survive it, and the point would be to save the world.
Look, it's too much of a risk. Don't trust the Curator and just burn it.
Look, just listen to me. Just for a second. Don't you think we can learn from it? This is an actual Leitner book. Does it have a book plate from the library inside of it? Would that mean that the Leitner Library is an actual real location? Or are we just using the phrase Leitner as a shorthand for any cursed book from the horrors? We can just know
What are you
so
doing
much.
yourself right now? Get rid of it. Burn it.
I'm scared.
Of what?
I don't even... Oh God. I don't even know. You're right. No, you are right. We should burn it.
Eddie?
I know, just give me a second.
Ed.
Yeah, I
We
know.
need you to.
I know. But it's knowledge.
Oh, no.
Don't you dare!
Don't you think we can learn from it?
Please.
No,
I will try.
no, you're not doing this.
That's what you've got to know that.
Can't you see that? John just put in Gerrie's page, so get to the damn page and
I don't
prove
think
it.
it's
It's
that.
already.
I can't.
Oh, God, no.
You're not going to, are you?
I'm so sorry.
Ed, it's Gerrie. I can't hear you. Are you there? Ed, where are you? I can't find you anywhere and I'm all alone.